Okay, next assignment. Split the 8 boxes and go from there. Okay, my first problem says 3x plus 2 equals negative 2x minus 8. My job in this problem is to find what the value of x is. Now, when I circle my equals, I see that x is on both sides. Well, that's not going to work because we can't really operate that way, okay, when it's on both sides. So I pick one of the x's, and it really doesn't matter which one you pick. I like to personally pick the smaller one because you got 3 and negative 2. And I'm going to get the negative 2 to 0. So to get from a negative 2 to 0, you're going to have to add 2x. You're going to have to go 2 forward. Okay. So going forward means you're adding 2x. And don't add negative 2x, you're adding 2x. Because negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Then I go to the 3x and add 2x. Now I line up my equals, and that's going to be 5x plus 2. And then this minus 8 means that's now negative 8. Okay, now here's the equals. Now I can make the wall so I know what I need to get rid of. Here are the operations, times 5 and plus 2. I like to circle the multiplication. So I need to get the plus 2 to a 0, okay? So if I'm at 2 and have to get to 0, I'm going backwards 2. So backwards means we would subtract 2. Okay, line the equals up. You got 5 times x. Negative 8 minus 2, backwards 2, that'd be negative 10. And then 5 times what's 10? Well, we're going to divide both sides by the 5. That cancels, and negative 10 divided by 5 is negative 2. Okay. Next equation says 8x minus 7 equals 7x minus 2. So again, here's my equals. We have x's on both sides. So I have an 8x and a 7x. So let's pick the 7x. Let's get that to 0. Okay. So if I'm at 7 and need to get back to 0, I'm going to subtract 7x. And then I'll subtract 7x from 8x. So I line up the equals. So 8x minus 7x is 1x, and then minus 7. And then the 7x minus the 7x is 0. So that's eliminated. And then negative 2. Okay, now I know the side that my x is on. So we have a times 1 and a minus 7. So that would be a negative 7, addition of a negative 7. So to get from negative 7 to 0, we're going to add 7. So line up the equals, 1 times x. If I'm at negative 2 and go 7 forward on the number line, that's 5. And then finally I just divide by 1, but it's still going to be just 5. And again, you can always check your answer by substituting 5 into the equation. So we have 8 times x, but I think x is 5, and then I'm going to minus 7. So that side I got 33. I should get 33 on the other side. So 7 times 5 minus 2 is 33. Okay, negative 12 plus 5x equals 15 minus 4x. Solving for x. Okay, we have x's on both sides, so we have a 5x, a positive 5x, and a negative 4x. So I'm going to get the negative 4x to 0, so I'd have to go 4 forward, which is addition. So I line up the equals. It's going to be 9. I like to do my x's first. 9x plus negative 12. Then over here we have 15, and then if I'm at negative 4 and I go 4 forward, well, I'm 0. That's good. That's where I want to be. Okay, now the x is on this side, so this is the operation side. So times 9 plus negative 12. Get that negative 12 to 0. You get negative 12 to 0 by addition of 12. And add 12 to the 15. So line up your equals. You have 9 times x. 15 plus 12 is 27. Now 9 times what's 27? Well, I can find that if I divide both sides of my equation by 9. And 27 divided by 9 is 3. Okay, next one we have negative x minus 11 equals 2x plus 4. So again, we have x's on both sides. That's a negative 1x and a positive 2x. So that's the smaller one. So to get from negative 1 to 0, we're going to have to perform addition of 1x and then add 1x there. So line up your equals. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. And then negative 11. 2 plus 1 is 3x, and then plus 4. So now I know where the operation's at. It's over here. So you got 3 times x and plus 4. So you have to get the plus 4 to the positive 4 to a 0. So you would go backwards 4, which is the subtraction operation. Line up your equals. You have 3 times x. If you're at negative 11, go backwards 4, you're at negative 15. And then divide both sides by 3. Not 15, 3. That's what you divide by the x multiplier. Okay. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. Okay. Next up, 4x plus 9 equals negative 8x minus 13. So again, we have x's on both sides, the positive and the negative. So we'll want to get rid of it doesn't matter which one you get rid of. I find it easier to get rid of the smaller one. Get that to 0. Get the smaller x term to 0. Get that. So if I'm at negative 8, I'd have to go 8 forward, which means plus 8x. Plus 8x to 4x. So I line up the equals. 4x plus 8x is 12x. Plus 9, negative 8 plus 8 is 0, and then negative 13. So now x is over here. The operations are times and plus. So let's get that positive 9 to a 0. Okay? So you go backwards 9, which means minus 9. Line up your equals, 12.x. If I'm at negative 13 and go backwards 9, that's going to be negative 22. Okay. Now I divide both sides by 12. Negative 22 divided by 12. Negative 1.83 repeating. Now if you don't like that, because that's hard to check, you can go negative 22 ABC 12, and then it will give you the answer in fraction form, which is negative 1 and 5/6. Okay, next one, 22x plus 11 equals 4x minus 7. So we have x's on opposite sides, okay? So that's the smaller one. So I need to get from positive 4 to 0. I'd have to go backwards 4, which means subtract 4x, and then subtract it from 22x. So line up your equals. You have 18x plus 11. 4 minus 4 is 0, and then negative 7 then. Okay, so I got 18 times x and plus 11. Let's get the 11 to 0. We would subtract 11. Negative 7 minus 11 is going to be negative 18. Okay. Then finally, 18 times what's negative 18? Well, I know it's got to be a negative, and then I'm going to divide both sides by the 18. And that's negative 1. Okay. Next up, 17 minus 9x equals negative 13 plus 16x. Okay, so again, x is on opposite sides. X is on both sides of the equation. So we have a negative 9x and a positive 16. So let's get the negative 9 to 0. So I would go forward 9, so plus 9x and plus 9x. So I line up the equals. 17, negative 9 plus 9, 0. Okay, so I just cross it out. And over here, I'm going to do the x's first. 16 plus 9 is 25x, and then plus negative 13. So the x is over here. So we got 25 times x, and we got plus negative 13. I already have the addition. So to get a negative 13 to 0, you go forward, so that means add 13 to negative 13. Then we add 13 to 17. Line up your equals, you got 30. 25 times x. Then you divide each side by 25. Okay, 30 divided by 25. 1.2. Okay, and the last one, 15x plus 22 equals negative 7x plus 18. So my x's, I have a positive 15 and a negative 7. I need to get the negative 7x to 0. Okay, so negative 7 going to 0 is adding 7x, and add 7x to your 15x. So line up your equals, and I've got 22x plus 22 constant, meaning it's not multiplied by x. Negative 7 plus 7, 0, and then we got 18. So over here, I've got a times 22 and a plus 22. So let's get the positive 22 to a 0. That I'd need to move backwards, so I'd subtract 22. Line up your equals, you got 22 times x. 18 minus 22, negative 4. Then divide by 22. Negative 4 divided by 22, negative 0.18 repeating, okay? Now, if you don't like the repeating decimal, you can go negative 4 ABC 22, and it's negative 211, so we'll just write it as a fraction. Okay, then we're going to look at a story problem where this applies. There are two tanks that need equal amounts of propane, and there should be a period there. The first tank has 70 gallons and is filling at a rate of 3 gallons per minute. The second tank has 150 gallons and it's draining at a rate of 5 gallons per minute. For how many minutes will the two tanks contain equal gallons of propane? So the answer is minutes. Okay, so I have minutes and gallons. Those are the two units. Make a table here. I might be adding a second table. Let's see. So we got, if I can't stand it right, it's a spiral. Okay. So we got minutes and gallons. Okay, the time unit is x and the other unit's y. Then I go per. Gallons per minute. Okay, the gallons per minute, we actually have two different ones in there for two different tanks. Okay, so we got 3 gallons per minute, so 3 times x, and then 5 gallons per minute, so 5 times x. Now we don't add them because they're two different tanks. Now, the filling at a rate of 3 gallons per minute means the 3 would be positive because when you fill something, it goes up. But when you drain something, it goes down, so the 5 needs to be a negative. Now, because I have two different rates, I would make two tables, two XY tables. So minutes, gallons, minutes, gallons, and 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So let's talk about the 3 gallons per minute. Now, it started at 70. Then you add 3, 73, 76, okay? The second tank, 5 gallons per minute, it drains at 5 gallons per minute. It started at 150. Now it's going down, so you're going to minus, okay? So 145, 140. Now eventually these hopefully will wind up equal. So what I do is I make 2 ladders, and I put 70 in first, and then the 150 second, and then plus, plus. This guy's going up by 3 equals y. This guy's going down by 5, so negative 5 times x equals y. Now I make that into just one equation. We can cancel the y's. We don't need those, okay? Because I want to know when the tables are equal. So I put 70 plus 3 times x on one side, and on the other side I'm going to put 150 plus negative 5 times x. Okay, and we're going to solve for x, but we got x's on both sides, so this is my smaller one here, negative 5 times x. So how would you get a negative 5 to 0? We'd go forward 5, so plus 5x. Then I plus 5x to the 3x, because that's where I can add, because they're both multiplied by x. So it's going to give us 8x plus 70. You can write 70 plus 8x. I like to put the x term first, but that's just me. And then 150. Okay, so now I see where the side my x is on. I got times 8 plus 70. So we need to get the 70 to a 0. Do I go backwards 70? So subtract 70, subtract 70. So you got 8 times x, 150 minus 7, 70 is 80. Divide by 8, divide by 8, and 80 divided by 8 is 10. So after 10 minutes, if I made these tables go to 10 minutes, I would have the same amount of gallons.